All right, we're here for episode 2 of the platform. Today we're speaking with Broderick Thompson. Nick, you chatted with him a couple days ago. How did that conversation go?
It was really good. Broad offers some good insight over his last 2 years. For those of you that don't know, he was injured in November 2018 and hasn't competed since. So we talked about that and how he's looking forward to returning to competition soon.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure everybody's excited to hear from him. So here we go. Broderick Thompson.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Just chilling. What have you been up to?
Just working out, training, keeping busy, strong.
Good. I'm start with my first question. I guess November 2018 is a significant time period for you. Do you want to kind of explain what happened at the end of that month and how that's brought you to now?
Thinking back, it was a long time ago now. Like, it's gone by pretty quick. A lot of people said it would take a long time and go by slowly, but I think putting my head down and working towards a goal of getting back to the strength where I was, like November 2018, I hurt myself. I dislocated my knee and tore pretty much every ligament you can in your knee. And I still remember it vividly what I did. I kind of caught an edge on my right outside ski coming into my left outside ski. I'm recovered, but then I just decided to pipe into the next turn and high-sided off of that left outside ski in downhill training, and I kind of pole vaulted off of my left leg and high-sided, kind of like Herman Meyer, but but I exploded my knee instead of getting up and winning an Olympic medal the next day. So it happened, and as I was lying on the ground, I was already thinking about what I was going to do to get back to where I was. And that day I was winning runs by large margins with the whole team, including Eric and Manny were still around, and the young guys were pushing. And it was the week before Lake Louise. I had quite a lot of confidence going into it, so I was excited to be doing that, fourth run of the day, fast speeds, and yeah, it happened. But I think it's taught me a lot in the past 2 years. I had a year of recovering, learning, getting back on my feet, walking again, to lifting, to running, and then to skiing eventually. And then I had a year of getting back on snow, which was the same process, just starting slowly and building up towards training gates and skiing speed again and getting up to speed. Yeah. So it was a lot, but I learned a lot about myself in both strength and conditioning, and then on to skiing, I was able to relearn a lot of technique, which I think has helped me. And I was able to take it slow in a way where if you're getting ready for a season, you're always pushing and trying to be faster and be faster. So in a sense, I was able to take it a step back even more than I would in a normal year, and then build up my technique to be better than when I was before. So by the end of this season, I was able to feel comfortable, but start to push and learn how I can push with my new technique, which not necessarily new, but adapted and better. I decided at the beginning of the Return to Snow program that I wanted to have a better platform and able to ski with less movement, but in a stronger position. And that I feel I fulfilled, just focusing mostly me every day with a coach, a lot of video, and a lot of good training environments. So in that sense, I was happy with the outcome. It's a lot of time from injury to getting back on snow, especially taking 2 years relative to like pushing to make it back in 1 year, which was not really a possibility for me because of the severity of my injury, like having so much to repair and being told that, yeah, you might walk in a year, you might not. It's like, it really put it into perspective on where I needed to get back to and how I needed to take my time to get back to that spot. So injuries, it's like you can have a torn muscle that you can be back in a month, or you can get told that you dislocated your knee and nothing is left there holding your knee together. And it will take from anywhere from a year to 5 years or whatever, but just putting it step by step and getting into that, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a lot, but it can get me going.
Let's get a little more specific with the timeline. So obviously all of that next 12 months was off snow, right?
Yeah, it was. I skied like 384 days after I hurt myself. So
December of 2019, or was it December?
It was the end of November.
Okay.
So like I hurt myself November 13th, 2018, and I skied like November 28th or something like that.
Okay.
2019. It might have been, I don't know. I thought it was 384, but I might be a couple days off. That might have been something else. But
right. And then so you kind of coming into this season, did you know you were just going to build the technique back, or was there a part of you that was hoping you were going to start some races maybe, or did you know it would be primarily forerunning or at best forerunning? What were your expectations for this specific year, and how did that go?
That's a good question, because I always had the mentality that I would like do as best as I could to get back to racing. And there were points where I was like, oh, I feel great, like put me in. But I would then go and do my strength testing, and it would show me that like as good as I felt, I still had a lot of work to do to be in the position where I needed to build a lot of strength. And even when I started skiing, I felt good. But a downhill turn in Kitzbühel is what I feel like something you need to be able to do before you can even make speed, say at Lake Louise or in a NORAM or in a FIS race. Like you need to prepare yourself to withstand the biggest turns and the hardest snow conditions before you can even be in the right place mentally to make speed in a turn. So I think I wanted to be able to like push my body to what I was before I was racing. And I think that I had the idea that I would forerun by the end of 2019. But in the end, the training I was doing was testing my body as good as any forerunning would have been. I ended up with some super G runs that were full length, and that was a good step, and I feel like a good endpoint of that 2019, because it showed that I could do it and that I still needed work to do to get strong and have my body react the way I wanted it to after a day of training. And by the end, I was like feeling good, if not better, after training speed, for instance, than just like doing railroad turns or whatever, you know.
Yeah. And then so now moving into this season, is the goal, I mean, maybe you haven't thought about it, or maybe it's something that you're keeping close, but is the goal to be like back and ready for the start of the World Cup season, or I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I right now with the testing, like, and the way I'm feeling in the gym, under the squat bar, jumping and skiing where I was in March. I guess I got a little bit of skiing in March. And just having that to rely on, and the confidence that I have built and where I'm at in the gym is like a point where I was before I hurt myself. So I can push now into the off season with skiing and training with a idea that I can push towards that goal of racing again. Like, I don't see why not.
Mm-hmm.
If I get a full year of training in the summer, I'm at the same point as anyone that finished a season, a race season. Like, I'm starting where they are, and that was my goal with the last season, to come back to where I was before and finish and start a spring camp. Let's say that in the world a lot didn't happen, but moving forward, I think I'm in the same boat as everyone else, so I can push towards that goal of racing World Cup with no limits. So there you have it.
Oh, that's exciting. That's good to hear. And I guess then to further that question, what are your expectations for you for next season?
I just, like, you saw it with Thomas Dreschen, any guys that are returning from injury, they have learned a lot about themselves, or they've improved their technique. The expectation I have for myself would be the same as what I was kind of pushing into that season that I hurt myself. Like, give it everything that I have mentally, physically, with preparation, and the results. I want the results, and I feel like they're in reach, especially the way I was skiing before my injury, and I feel normal, like, when I'm training now, and I feel like I can improve with strength and conditioning and technique, and just have a good off season coming in. And then training with the guys, I feel like we have a strong group, and the results I feel like will come as a group even, but I feel like with my own results, pushing into the top 30 and then on to top 10 and podiums and wins, that's the goal in ski racing. And ever since I was little, Olympics and World Cups, whether it be Kitzbühel, Wengen, Bormio, they've always been on my radar, and I do want that. So let's go.
Beautiful. And then you just touched on it, so I'll ask you, I mean, not like you explained, you weren't just sitting on the couch all winter, but sitting on the couch all winter and watching your teammates, especially a couple of 2 or 3 guys come to mind that had kind of breakthrough years or made some big jumps. Was that inspiring for you? Or was there like a little jealousy? Or, I mean, are you excited to get back with those guys and kind of like duke it out?
Yeah. Well, I think that was one of the biggest questions I got. Like, were you, like, let down, or how much did it suck that you weren't skiing and, like, making moves? But, like, I was in a position where all I needed to do was I had my own goals. I had to get back to where I was, and I've even mentioned that a bunch already. But watching my teammates and younger guys push and succeed and get career best results, I was excited for them more than I would have even thought. Like, obviously I want to be there getting those results and better. And in a sense, I'm like living a little bit through them, and then looking at their video and saying, well, you could have done this and you would have been here. Like, obviously they're looking at it the same way, but it's funny that I am also kind of living through their results. But I watched every race, and I like touched on every race. So thinking about what I would have done, and even watching them and being like, seeing where they're coming from and having that idea, even more so with guys I know. And I have like friends that are Swiss too. And one of the guys, he's my age, Urs Krienbuhl, he like surprised himself on getting on the podium. I don't even remember where it was, but I talked to him after, and he was like, yeah, it just like happens, you know? And then I had also friends that did poorly, like Gilles Roulin. He would have expected more from himself this past season after having a really good season the season before. So I think that's ski racing. It's like you have results that come when you're least expecting it, or you've just done your work, and it's rewarding and coming back. But like being able to not be there is tough, but being able to push towards what like that goal again is another thing. Like having that goal in mind and not being able to do anything about it in the present time it's okay. Like I don't know. It's hard to say because there's like you can from the outside looking in, a lot of people probably forget about you. I would think like unless they're close to you, like you. There's a lot of seasons where Eric Gay, he was injured for like a whole season or a couple seasons, and people are like not wondering about him, you know. Even me, like as a young racer, I was like, oh, Eric, like not even thinking that he wasn't there. But in that sense, now that I've experienced like being hurt for a year, it's like, yeah, you're still there, you're still working, like just as much or not more than a lot of the guys that are racing currently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I have a point about it, but
well,
it's like you just gotta live your own life in a sense, and that's what I think. Some people might get caught up in other people's results and jealousy and all that, but I think people from the outside might think that more than the people living it, and that's where I'm coming from a little bit. But
yeah,
I'm excited to get back to be with the guys, and whether it be Canadians or any other countries, the Americans, the US, or the Austrians or Norwegians, we're all kind of in the same boat regarding injury or health. So yeah, just getting back to it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's fair. Maybe I know what you're trying to say there. It's like you're ready to go, you know, you taking your time.
Yeah. Like unless you're like you asking me and being interested in how my recovery is going, a lot of people don't care. But I care about myself, and that's what all that really matters, pushing forward into the next season. So we'll make people care.
Exactly. And then you'll be back and it'll be like, oh yeah. Broderick.
They'll be like, where you been? You know, just working out 7 days a week, rehabbing, not being able to walk for a few months.
Awesome. Well, I think that was really cool. There was some really great insight there. So,
yeah, I kind of went on a bit, but
no, it's great. I think we'll end it at that. And thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure. Anytime.
We will talk soon, I'm sure.
Gotta get all the boys on one call.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.